Have you ever loved somebody and they broke your heart?
The fuck?
Millions of people have been asking me, hey Gerbert, why are you always talking about all this incel stuff? What, do you not have any bitches? Here's the thing about this question. It's a very interesting question in that no one ever seems to ponder the possibility that maybe it's that don't have me. Anyways, I decided to talk to a dating therapist to see if
There's such thing as a dating therapist? There's no way. There's no way. Hold on. Hold on. Dating therapist. What? What the heck? Together, you and your therapist will explore what qualities you want in a partner, how to know if a relationship is a right fit, what your ultimate goal is for dating, communication skills, and explore whether there are unhelpful patterns that might be getting in the way of successful. That's just normal therapy. What the? I bet there's an upcharge to that too for idiots who pay for that.
I can find a good match. I don't know, man. I feel like I'm a decently handsome guy. I try to put in effort to my appearance. I work out, whatever. It's just, I don't really know where to start, where to meet girls. I'm just struggling.
Tell me about what kind of girls you're going after. Like, what are you looking for in a woman?
Mixed Asian, half white, half Asian. Big under thighs. Bow! Nice rack. Bing bang. Big tit. Tall.
Okay.
Taller than me, 6 foot tall. 130 plus IQ, 32-inch vertical, no tattoos, debt free, virgin. Did I say big? I said big rack, right?
You said big racks, yeah.
Yeah, so that's about it.
Women, they date up. So, what you have to do is you have to schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. The type of woman that you want has to have either 2 or 3 of these mental disorders. Everyone with auras, they have a roster. And in order to create a roster, you need to pray after mentally disabled women. Let's be real. You're white. You're pasty. You are milk.
Yeah.
You are vanilla. You have 0 flavor. There is.
He's not asking for much. You're right. He was not asking for much. I mean, that was a short list of what he wanted in a woman. Right. And I like how the therapist's expectation with the guy is, you're going to look for mental illness then. Like, you can find one of those, but they're going to be mentally ill.
0 seasoning to you. How to manipulate an autistic woman. And that's where the dark triad comes in.
Wait. Did he tell him? Hold on.
Debt free,
Okay.
virgin.
So I want to see if he told him he needs to be mentally ill or he needs to look for a woman with mental illness.
I said big rack, right?
You said big.
He didn't. I know he didn't even say rich woman. See, he's not thinking long term. See, he's not a long term thinker like we are.
Yeah, so that's
Trophy husband.
Women,
That's what we're shooting
they date
for.
up. So, what you have to do is you have to schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. The type of woman that you want has to have either 2 or 3 of these mental disorders.
So he did. He told him that the type of woman who's going to fit that criteria is going to be crazy. I'm going to be honest with you. This therapist sounds like he's overqualified for his position based off my dating experience. But okay.
Everyone with auras, they have a roster. And in order to create a roster, you need to pray after mentally disabled women. Let's be real.
You have to pray after
You're white. You're pasty. You are milk.
Yeah.
You are vanilla. You have
Nothing wrong with being white. I'm white as a, like, I've been trying to tan. I have. And I'll have everyone know I have gone from Elmer's glue white to white rice white. Like I've gone down a shade. It just takes time.
zero flavor. There is zero seasoning to you. How to manipulate an autistic woman.
Oh my god.
And that's where the dark triad comes in, because the dark triad is quite literally black. No, you're not advanced yet for the dark triad bedroom game. When you meet an autistic woman, and this is obviously going to be after you've black maxed, right?
Yeah.
After I have this course, it's going to tell you everything that you need to know about.
And of course he's selling them a course. I like the fact he's saying all this with a cross around his neck, because, you know, big guy upstairs first, right?
Using the dark triad and also the female triad that I told you about earlier. And on top of that, it's going to teach you all the tricks that you need to take advantage of a schizophrenic.
Okay.
The course is going to be roughly $998.86. It is a big
right, because he's got to get the course. Right, he's got to take the course. Like this free advice won't get him anywhere. So this guy is going to sell him the course, and then he'll be less white and more attractive to mentally ill women. Smart.
I need you to feel that investment so that you can be invested in this course.
Okay.
You know.
You may have seen this general social survey graph from 2018, but you probably haven't seen the updated version of 2022. The older graph shows that male virginity has supposedly skyrocketed since 2012.
Share of men under 30 who report zero female sex, 27% are 29 to 18. And they haven't gotten laid. Jesus.
But the newer one,
I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing, because I'm going to be honest with you. After I got laid, I got dumb as fuck. I used to be like on the fast track to graduate school, like PhD, had a perfect score on my SAT, ACT, and then I got laid, and then just damn, I'm dead.
one shows that since then it has plummeted.
Just brain rot
and the
since
other
then.
people, even recently, surmised that this was an ongoing trend, only getting worse, especially because it was pre-pandemic. Let's just say the rate of growth was consistent. If we would extend the graph to 2022, the number would be around 38%. But we're coming to find out that maybe it was just a blip. Bald head bitch. Is this whole idea of an ever-growing incel population?
True.
Women
True. They're not incels. They're voluntarily celibate. Right? They're saving themselves for marriage because they're good Christians. That's what it is. You're right. That's what it is. They're not incels at all.
Only wanting to
engage with Chaz,
leaving many men to be virgins, some sort of illusion, a way of chronically online men to project their own failures onto a larger societal problem. As the saying goes, misery loves company. Is there actually a rising virginity rate? Are more and more men becoming incels? How many incels are there actually? You'll find out in this video. Be sure to like and subscribe. lookofthedead.com for merch. How is it that in 2018 the virginity rate was almost 1/3 of all men, but in 2022 it plummeted? That doesn't even make sense post-COVID. Well, the truth is that these general social study surveys have quite a low sample size. Better data sets with over 10 times the sample size show that virginity is steadily increasing very marginally. It's not nearly as sensational as the 2018 graph that went viral. Also, in this graph, the rates between men and women are quite similar and following the same trend. Now, again, these are all surveys. It's not like scientists are running around gathering the fiber off of these guys' scrotums to actually prove concretely whether or not they're getting laid. Okay, they could be lying. There could be a Hawthorne effect going on here, but it would be dishonest To say that's what's going on with this newer graph, when everybody on the internet took the 2018 General Social Survey graph at complete face value. The reality is the reality.
Wait, what?
And also
Oh,
a counterpoint,
wait,
maybe
what was
you're
that?
not thinking about it enough. It's actually exactly the problem. Survey graph.
Hold on. Almost 1/3 of young men ages 18 to 30 haven't had sex in the past year. What do you think the reason or reasons are? Women are having sex with Chads / Tyrones their age and older men. Yeah, a small percentage of guys get the majority of women, it seems. According to Washington Post, the number of men under 30 who never have sex has tripled in the last 10 years. That is an astonishing statistic in the last 10 years.
At complete face value. People will, on the internet, latch on to the most sensational, extreme data there is, even though it's far from the best. And then I did the same thing, drawing all these conclusions. And I mean, there is a slight trend.
Yeah, that's true. Their hand has been doing work. I guarantee you there's a bunch of guys out there with hellacious grip strength. Just like crushing bricks and shit like that. Just kung fu grip
going on, but it's not that crazy. In actuality, you might just be a fucking loser. So are incels valid? I guess it depends. If it's just about getting laid, there are a lot of girls nowadays that aren't too picky with that sort of thing.
True.
They're very loosey-goosey.
I feel like the bar, a lot of times, from a lot of the women I meet, so keep in mind I'm middle aged, so my situation is different from younger guys. But like a lot of the women I know, they basically just want a guy who actually isn't a slob, who who looks decent. He ain't even got to be hot, just looks decent, and is not a complete asshole with a job, and he can pull a 10. I swear it feels like that nowadays.
Been hopping on Ween like a daily routine long before the day they've turned 18. I suppose you could call them, well, I mean, I'm pretty tolerant. I would call them free, expressive, but I've heard them been referred to as dirty whore. Point is, if you just want to have sex, I really don't think that itself is that hard. I don't find it to be a remarkable feat. I don't think you have to be a particularly impressive guy. You know, I hate to say the cliche thing, but I've seen a lot of conventionally unattractive guys have success with getting laid a lot. They're just outgoing. This whole Chad only thing, it basically all comes from data from online dating.
Yes.
Which is a sausage fest that shouldn't be taken seriously. The internet bleeds into real life a little bit, but there are plenty of normal people getting together. If you look at the data honestly, or you could just go outside and see them. So how many incels are there actually? Some people would posit that they don't exist.
So this may sound egotistical, and I'm not trying to be, but like since I've had my weight loss surgery and I've been going to the gym more, I have noticed just a few times I've gotten checked out by women who were like way out of my fucking league, insanely out of my league. Again, it's only happened a few times that I noticed, but it's like sometimes you know the look when you're getting checked out. It's crazy, especially at the gym.
That any man.
That's why I don't do it anymore. Like I've tried it, and I've had friends that ask me, like, since I've lost weight and all that, if I want to do it. I'm not going to do. I don't want to do it again. I've tried it. It's horrible. It is horrible. And also, I never felt any chemistry. Not one time. I've never felt chemistry for any girl I met online. Never feel any chemistry whatsoever. I don't know why, but I never do.
If he tries hard enough, can find a partner if he just does the right things, as if human sexuality is completely moral and fair and there's no genetic factors involved. There are some people, some true cells, they're called, in the sort of incel vernacular. Men with autism have
I haven't made a movie
very
yet.
high
Well,
chance of being
and so you're not wrong. I haven't made a movie yet. Honestly, it's not that I'm afraid to reject it. I've made moves in the past. That doesn't bother me. But like I'm in a weird headspace when I get to the gym because I'm so focused on lifting weights. Like I don't even think about that sort of thing. Like oftentimes my head's just not there. If I'm at work, my head's not in that. If I'm going to the gym, my head's not in that. So I don't have a time where I'm out and I'm not focused on a goal, because usually if I'm out, I'm going to somewhere for a specific reason and my head's just already there.
being a virgin.
I need to get better about getting out of my head more often.
People's place to sit there and gaslight these guys when they're on a fundamentally different social wavelength. So they're valid. Life circumstances do produce genuine incels, but there aren't a lot of them. They're actually relegated to the bottom percentages of men. Not like many people would claim that the bottom 80% of men aren't getting any action whatsoever. Even guys that might consider themselves incels or incel adjacent usually aren't going to be that. I'm not even sure if a lot of self-identified incels are even less attractive than the average guy. There are a select few of true cells, but really for most guys, it is a matter of standards. How low are you willing to go? I can go use these apps or go get drunk enough to be.
That is true. If your goal is just to get laid, how low are you willing to go? That is so accurate of a phrase. How low are you willing to go? If you're just trying to get laid, if you're just trying to get sex, how low are you willing to go and you're guaranteed to get it? That is so accurate.
Sociable and porca 4. If you haven't, it might sort of eat away at you. You might think it's way more impactful and better than it actually is. But if you do it, you realize there's nothing there. It's quite pointless and kind of gross. So I'm not technically involuntarily celibate, and despite what the internet would tell you with cherry-picked bad data, most men aren't. But it's not like these goofy internet words actually mean anything anyways. But does this mean that there are no legitimate gripes? There are no good points raised by these guys? Is dating today completely fine and you're...
No, it's not. The internet has created a false value system as far as what you should be looking in a significant other. It's not just creating that for women, it's creating that for men too. Like this false equivalency of what you can get, the best you can get, or what you should be looking for. And in actuality, from my experience, and keep in mind, like I said, I'm middle age. I've seen a lot of my friends and people I know who were married in their 20s. Now they're back on the dating circuit, just like me. And they got a kid under their belt and they got a divorce under their belt. And they are sitting there and they have learned that sometimes it's not about what you want, it's about what you need in a significant other. And a lot of us aren't in touch with ourselves enough to know what we need in a significant other. And the internet culture does not promote self-reflection, and so it causes problems with developing standards of what you're looking for in a partner.
You're just a loser if you have problems with it. I suppose it would be fair to call me an incel, because when I look at postmodern dating, when I look at the state of relationships today, I do hate it. I do despise almost everything that I see. I think it's deeply twisted and all fucked up. Allow me to define my parameters for a successful relationship. The longest running study of human happiness is quite thorough. It's been going on for 70-something years, studying the same sample group. Frequently, there are check-ins. They don't just give these people surveys. They do blood work, brain scans, test every measure of their mental and physical health, which are correlated. What did they find? you ask? Well, people with close personal relationships. Now, the original study group is old now. This is almost always supplied by their life partner, their marriage. People with strong, close personal relationships, by every metric, were better off. Physically, mentally, they felt less physical pain. And with their old age, in feeling this physical pain, they felt less demoralized by the pain. Having a strong relationship, especially as you get older, your body gets weaker, it's quite important for your happiness.
And that's not just romantic relationships either. There's a reason why in nursing homes, I believe the death rate is like 30 something percent. And a lot of times the higher death rate is with white males. And it has nothing to do with race and everything to do with culture, because the white men will tend to stick to themselves, whereas everyone else tends to socialize more. They engage in club activities. They like, it's very, very important for physical and emotional health to have strong ties with people in actual relationships. That's one of the reasons women live so much longer than men.
According to the longest running study of human happiness. So with that being said, a successful relationship is a lifelong bond with children, most likely sanctioned by marriage. So, what are the chances of this relationship happening? For me, for anyone like me. By the way, I use relationship in quotes because that's a new term. It used to just be, oh, there's a girl, we're married. If you think about the term, it's extremely vague. It doesn't actually mean anything.
Right.
We're in a relationship. And now it's gotten even more vague with a situationship. It doesn't even the relationship is already vague. Now it's a situationship. What the fuck are you even talking about? So how many so-called relationships succeed? Besides all this Chad lookism kind of goofy shit.
Like, I think that there's a difference between, like, I'm asocial, but I do recognize that is not always the healthiest way to be. And so I do try to, over the years, I've been trying to get better about it. Like, I don't have social anxiety like I used to. I'm able to develop connections and relationships, a friendship and romantic as well. And I couldn't do that before. But also there's the catch-22, right? Which is, you need to have those relationships, but also you need to understand what your limits for certain things are. Like, for instance, I cannot stand stupid people or shallow people, or especially stupid shallow people. Like, I can't. If you're someone who I think is shallow, or you're someone who I think is an idiot, I can't be around you. Like, I can't. It sets me off. So having standards is important in that too, because you're being honest with yourself. Otherwise, you're not going to have lasting relationships. You need to know yourself before you can know other people.
This is the real black pill. There are two endings to a relationship: breakup and marriage. As high as 85%.
I 100% agree. With age comes wisdom, and also that comes with a certain level of self-awareness, especially if you're someone who engages in a lot of self-reflection, which I encourage people to do. Like, you know yourself better. Like, you knowing yourself is so important when developing relationships with other people. So important.
Breakups. 85% of people will have gone through a breakup. The average relationship lasts around 2 or 3 years. People will have gone through about 5 relationships before they get married. The marriage rate is just over 30%. Most people are getting married in their late 20s, early 30s. So yeah, the marriage rate is already quite low, but how many marriages themselves are successful? Again, success to me includes children. I'll mention here that less than half of Zoomer women even want to have children. 30% of marriages are childless. Childless marriages are more prone to divorce.
Yeah.
Another 20% are only children. I'm including this because growing up as an only child is quite sad usually, and it fucking blows. You've probably heard that the divorce rate is about 55%. It isn't just the divorce rate, but the amount of marriages that arguably should be divorced on account of certain factors. We can't know the exact number of these because it's much more qualitative, but dead bedrooms, they're just staying together for the kids. They don't want to go through the process of being divorced. So that's not very good. I'm not saying don't try. I'm still going to, but it looks pretty grim.
Right.
You know, dudes obsessing over looks and not being able to get laid is kind of a chronically online diversion. This in itself is mostly driven by social ineptitude,
Yep.
which is a consequence of a lack of community.
Yep.
And there is a lack of community because there's no family. Family is the prototype for all community. A return to community requires...
I also don't think it's a lack of community, though. I think it's a lack of self-reflection and self-awareness more than anything. I really do. I think because we're in an internet culture where everything, like the most popular format is short format on entertainment. It's shorts on YouTube, it's Instagrams, it's TikToks, it's all that. So people don't take I mean, when you're pumping stuff like that into your head, it's not conducive to self-reflection in my opinion, because it doesn't encourage like long thinking or deep thinking usually. This isn't always the case, but it's just like superficial brain rot a lot of times.
A return to family. A return to family requires a sacrifice in personal action. People always talk about returning to community, wanting that back, but the truth is we have been freed from communal bonds and pursuits. There's a tendency to offload the whole problem into something like places not being walkable, walkability. Well, Tokyo and many parts of Europe are perfectly walkable, and they're facing the same thing. Our libertine modern utopias want all the benefits of tightly knit communities while paying none of the costs of individual freedom. It seems to me like there's actually nothing fair or moral about human sexual behavior, and we actually just can't be left to our own devices and expect things to work out. Instead of family formation, we now find a dating scene, which almost inevitably turns into a shit show. A modern date is basically just an interview with a stranger, where you used to be set up in a community where you already know each other. There's nothing weird about it. I know almost inevitably there are going to be...
That's not necessarily true. You used to see that with nobility. They would like pair each other off even though they didn't know each other. You would like, that's not necessarily true in other cultures as well. Like arranged marriages are still a thing in a lot of areas of the world.
People saying, "Oh, you're thinking about this too much." I mean, I guess it's possible.
No, he's not. I think he's thinking about this like appropriately. I think this is something that you should be interviewed with a stranger. Yeah, it really my understanding how arranged marriages work in like and I could be wrong in this, in some Indian cultures, is basically the families meet, the parents meet, and they kind of do like an interview thing, and then they do like supervised dating, and then after like a short amount of time, it's okay. Do you want to? Is this viable candidate for marriage? Yes or no, and then they get married. I could be wrong, but I like it's not a big lengthy process in every culture, and they have just as much success rate as us, if not more, depending on what it is, right? But as far as him, I think it's inspiring to see a young person think like this, like just thinking about this in general. Arrange you with someone rich, you and me both.
I never really wanted to. I wish things would just work out, but the reality is the reality.
Right.
And also a counterpoint, maybe you're not thinking about it enough. It's actually exactly the problem. There's no foresight.
There you
There's
go.
no planning ahead.
Yes.
It's all just completely reactive. The way we matchmake in the West now is all short-term, reactive, responding to things, as opposed to long-term planning, which is what it always used to be. Communities, your family, your community actively works planning ahead in matchmaking you. Now you're just on your own. In order to maintain our civilization, high investment parenting, monogamy, and higher birth rates are required.
Also, the fact that a lot of us view what a healthy relationship is from watching our parents, and when the divorce rate was already high and dysfunction in the home was probably high, that makes future generations more likelihood to repeat that same toxic trait. So I think that's why you're seeing newer generations having that problem even more than the previous ones.
Um, and there none of these things are being met. And for most people, it doesn't even seem like there's an effort for these type of things to be met. So in this way, it is in fact over. Can these things recover? I don't know. Maybe. I'm like 13 years old. I don't have solutions or prescriptions. But, I'm chilling. It'll be worked out. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, keep on mewing. I'm sure that'll help, you fucking idiot.
Oh my God. Really? I think this is a really good video. It's nice to see a young person like thinking about this sort of thing. Whether, their stance on it is irrelevant to me. The fact that the thought is happening is great. Because you should be thinking about stuff like this. Anyway, that's a good video. Yeah, I think a lot of younger generations are seeing they recognize it's a problem, but they don't know what to do about it. They don't, because social media. If you look at a lot of these things, a lot of these negative portrayals in dating, not all of them, but a lot of them seem to be in big cities, or at least in my country. Like every time there's some woman who's sitting there and she's trying to shame a man and all that, it's always some lady who's from like a big city where there's no community, which may be back to his point. But then in smaller areas, like I'll be first one to tell you, I'm in Arkansas. In this state, the average rate of divorce is 3. Most people in my state get married 3 times. So we don't exactly have the healthiest thing here, but we also don't have this. I don't know. It feels weird comparing like rural America in my country to big city America. It's like 2 different worlds, especially dating.